According to my screen, I am live. So, hi everybody. Matt here
Hello.
from Matt Likes Comics, and I'm here with my wonderful new friend, Raph from Raph's Retro Comics. Raph, how are you tonight?
I'm doing very good. Thank you. Thanks for the invite.
Not a problem. I'm really excited to talk to you because you are on most of your videos are on the informative side of the hobby as opposed to just getting on there. And I went on a haul and I bought this and I bought that. And honestly, there's room for every type of video on YouTube. But one thing I do find is that the type of informational videos that you yourself do and some of mine are not as there's not as many of those as there are of other types. So my question to you is, let's go back to the beginning.
Okay.
Little Raph gets into comic books. What was it about comic books that made you like them and thus also led you to decide to do the YouTube channel?
So the first comic books I ever received were from a birthday party. My next door neighbor had a birthday party, and as a party favor, they gave everybody comic books. Because
Mm-hmm.
the guys, I still remember his name. His name was Greg. His dad was a comic book collector, and everybody received like two, three comic books, and I received a Contest of Champions #1 and a
Mm-hmm.
Master Kung Fu, I think like number 89. But it was that Contest of Champions that completely like hooked me and blew me away. And after that, I learned that some of my other friends like comic books as well too. And one of my friends who lived like growing up that I've known for like 50 plus years, had a bunch of like ratty 1970s DC castaways
Mm-hmm.
from his neighbor. So he had like these Superman Family 100 pagers, like stuff like Rima and like Prez and other comics. And I borrowed them, and like again, it's like, man, these are awesome. And so over time, I got more and more interested, and then I learned about like comic book stores, and it's like what, and like you know that you're able to get these kind of back issues, and yeah, I was just hooked. um, and the YouTube thing was, it was during COVID that I started watching a lot of YouTube videos, and I noticed, wow, there's a lot of like really cool content creators out there, and I thought, man, maybe this is something I should do. And like I've, been a collector for so long, and I have so many comic books, and I thought and I kind of do like the video production like aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, all right, you know what? We'll give it a shot. And yeah, I only started doing it post COVID because I've only been doing this for about just over 2 years.
Wow. And
But I've been like,
I
yeah,
say
I'm
wow
really
because I see the size of your channel. You're like over 6,000 subscribers.
yeah,
So you have obviously made a huge impact right off the bat then.
yeah, and I think I just got one of my videos hit, and then I was able to do a bit of a riff of that, and now I've kind of moved into more of just doing like your 12 to 15 minute deep dives on one particular kind of subject.
Mm-hmm.
I still do the occasional, like, I haven't done a haul video in a long time, but I will do like other kind of top 10 videos and stuff like that, when I see like there's an opportunity or something to discuss. Like, Alan does his Friday top 10 challenge, and like if there's something there that really kind of like resonates with me, it's like, okay, cool, I'll do a top 10 on that. Some of them are hard though. I mean, like he had this one with like big numbers and stuff. It's like, oh man, like,
Yeah, the big numbers one was actually quite easy for me
oh yeah,
because
okay, yeah,
but it was because see, I have something that most people don't have. I have the insider's knowledge. So I mean,
yeah,
like I in this
okay,
why? Because part of it is he won't admit this, but not all the ideas are his.
oh,
Most
okay,
are. Big numbers one was, but on occasion I'll
okay,
make a suggestion and we end up doing it.
nice,
And we plan them. We try to plan them 2 or 3 weeks in advance for ourselves because
right,
both of us have extremely busy lives off camera.
yeah,
So in my case, I like to, because it takes me a while to dig because I'm not in the
Yeah.
greatest of health. So it takes me a while to dig. So I like to know the topics in advance so that I can
Yeah.
try to at least dig them out. I may not record them till the week of it, but I at least want to have the piles so that I can say it. And I found the numbers actually quite easy because, you know, he didn't specify what numbers to use. So I was doing 80-page giant, for example. I used that
Oh, okay.
as one
Okay.
because I mean the 80 on the 80 page at the top
It's
right off
big.
the bat
Yeah.
is a number.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
those were the kinds of factors. And that's another reason. It's like most of the time because we talk about it, I get to know what it's about. And I unfortunately I always save mine till Saturday just to give other people a chance to do other videos so that it doesn't look like it's bang and bang.
Yeah.
Because I usually have
Like,
mine up I usually have mine recorded by the Thursday before and put it up. I'm
I'm impressed. I'm
go ahead.
impressed at how quickly some are like I watched like Comic Mike's channel and like
Mm-hmm.
man, he's able to get like those top tens like fast. And like because I'm usually like a week late with
Well,
those like
again,
those top tens. Yeah.
honestly, I think it comes down to familiarity with what you have, your
Yeah.
memory, and things like that. Like for example, big numbers. Well, right off the bat, I could think of 5 books when he brought that up,
Yeah.
and then going through, it brought other books. Like for
Yeah.
example, right off the bat, I knew I had the 80-page giant. Then right off the bat, I knew that I had the Superman 30th issue, like 30th anniversary issue, that had the
Okay.
big
Yeah.
3-0 on it. I
Yeah.
had the 500th issue of Action Comics. I went and
Yeah.
checked the
Yeah.
number; it was big enough. Then I remembered, hey, go. He didn't say anything about price. Look at that. Look at the big 20 cents on there. That's.
Yeah.
And he didn't say anything about the corner box. So I pulled out one of the Captain America books with the Captain America 50 in the little UPC. Like
Yeah.
you learn the little tricks, and I'm sure you have a large enough collection to realize that you can probably pull it out from those as well, because certainly with the amount of knowledge that you show in your videos, you do tend to know your collection because the books you choose to do them make it great. I'm going to ask you one more question, then we'll say
Yes.
hi to the chat. My
Yes.
question to you, because this is something I actually do struggle with, and I'm struggling with it at this moment. How do you pick topics for your videos?
So usually I have about 5 or 6 topics going at once.
Mm-hmm.
And often I'll get a suggestion from like a viewer or commenter saying, "Oh, you did this video. How about doing a video on this?" And as well, I'll go through my collection and I'll see if there's anything that kind of just hits the spot for me. And it's funny, like sometimes like uh, if I want to do like a video on an artist, like I did one on Jim Aparo a
Mm-hmm.
while ago, and then I was like, oh, flipping through some of the books, like these Spectre books are awesome. I forgot how good these are. I forgot how crazy these are. So it's like, you know what? I'm gonna do one on these Spectre issues. So sometimes there can be a chain as well too, but
Yeah,
I
I
usually
have
have
done
like,
videos on both Jim Aparo and that Spectre run as well. So I get
oh
what you're
man,
saying.
those Spectre issues, they're so good. So and again, like I did one like on Witching Hour, right? And then somebody said, "Oh, can you do one on Weird War?" And I thought, "Oh yeah, okay, sure, I'll do that." But
That Weird
sometimes,
War one is still my favorite to this day of the ones I've watched of yours so far.
yeah, I, it's like, oh, I was really happy at how it turned out, and like, um, it's it's a tough title to collect, and there's a lot of like really kind of interesting stories and artists who worked on that series. So, and it's a big series; it's like 124 issues. So, I was,
Mm-hmm.
I and like and sometimes like that Weird War one did like really well. Like a lot of people watch that video, and it's kind of it's strange how sometimes you think like a title like Weird War might not get a lot of traction in terms of people who are interested in comic books, but like, who knew like
Mm-hmm.
so I was really happy that there's a lot of Weird War fans out there in terms
There is.
of
I'm one of them. Like I
yeah
am a huge fan of that particular title.
yeah
So Thank you very much for that one. Let's take a moment and have a say hi to those of you who have shown up into the Nefarious Comics chat tonight. We're going, yes, I've officially named it that so we can do it without, sound like a hockey broadcast, eh? Time for the direct energy power play. So let's say hi to everybody. We got Lewis who's come in first. Hi, Lewis at Second Floor Comics. Kay Munin, who should have been first, who's had his comments deleted. Tan is here. Good to see you, Tan. Little bell for the super chat. Thank you very much. I swear one of these days I will get the big StreamYard. I'll finally get off my butt and buy it. And thanks to you, Up and Adam, I realized I had misspelled and call it Rap's channel. So there will be no rhymes. I didn't have any times. So came in again. Let's see. We've got Longest Cosplays. It's great to see you here tonight. Rob Saint, always great. My brother in arms, Mr. Robbie Josephs. Great to see you here.
Oh, fantastic books last week, Robbie.
Yeah. All the way from Denmark, Mr. Core. How are you? John Harrison is here. Hi, John. Sorry. Jeff Jack is here. A lot of conversation going on tonight. Here I am. This is me, as he would say. Mike Dennis is here. Hi, Mike. The awesome and extremely nicest guy on the internet, Mr. Stevie D. Good to see you. Steven is here. Hi, Steven. And Thomas O'Donnell is here. Thomas, I hope you see that I'm trying to find a place for the Legion headquarters. Mark's Issues with Archie is here. This guy is getting better every week. If you are not subscribed to Mark, do so, because if you like Archie comics, even as a kid, and you read the digest, you want to know anything about Archie, this is the man to watch. And let's see. Well, Lyle's here. Hi, Lyle. Brian LCS, or as he's always called on that other show, local comics Guide. Yeah. And Doc's Comics is here. Hi, Doc. Man, we've got quite a few people tonight. Big conversations going on. Nate is here. Hi, Nate. Nice of you to stop by before you get ready for yours. And Gordon Sisk is here. Hi, Gordon. I don't think you've been here before. Welcome to the channel. Hope you stay and enjoy. That's everybody that's here for now. So, just before we get into showing the books, who are your favorite books to buy? Like for example, you have $20. You're at a show and there's two books between you, or say 6 or 7 books to choose from. Who are the ones you're most likely to pick up first?
You mean like
your favorite books? Like who's your favorite?
No, I don't know if I have a favorite book right now. Like honestly, I love just the process of just digging and finding random stuff. So sometimes, and if I go to like stores, or if I know specific dealers, there'll be kind of specific areas that I'll look. But in terms of like titles, there's not any kind of particular kind of like title or character that I'm actively collecting. Although there's certain things, it's like I've been looking for a lot of gray tone covers, like those 60, like from the 1960s from DC, particularly like the war titles like GI Combat.
Yes, but those are very good ones.
They are, and like they're so hard to find, and they can be, a little expensive, especially if they're in nice condition. But there's a smattering of them, like across like so many different titles. Like Sea Devils actually has like some really really nice gray tone covers. Like some of the Russ Heath ones are really good.
Yes, I would
So
agree with that. Sea Devils is one of those titles that needs more love.
yeah,
You know, it is what I call one of those serious, underrated, very interesting title. It it's one of those ones that I like to sit down and read, like the showcase type versions. I'll
yeah,
sit down and read that one. It's a lot of fun.
yeah. So you know, but again, it's like I just like spending time going through like whatever bins and just coming across stuff. It's like oh, this is interesting. I'll pick this up. Because like if you look at my collection, it's just all over the place. Like it's it's mostly Marvel and DC stuff, but um, it can really be all over the place. And like another thing that I've been kind of and I think like Nate's channel how like is a bit to blame for this is I've been looking for 1980s independent stuff as well too
Hmm.
lately.
Yeah,
And
I've when they were called the FOMO Squad, they were really, really, really like let's put it this way. I bought a lot of books.
yeah,
Yeah.
and what's nice about that stuff is that it can be hard to find, but at least it's still very affordable. It's still very reasonable. So
Mhm.
I do um I do like coming across some of that stuff. And like I brought some of those comic books that today to kind of talk about, specifically Canadian ones. So I thought
Excellent.
that'd be fun.
Well, then why don't we make you big and you have the floor, Mr. Rath?
All right, rolling up the sleeves. Okay, so the first one is this, and it's Oktoberfest Comics. Doesn't really have it. Well, it's actually the first issue, and this is actually the first published comic book story by Dave Sim. This is before Cerebus, before he did that kind of like a Boy with an Art of Arc story in Power Comics, published in 1976. It's not particularly valuable or even that kind of hard to find, but it's kind of like this weird one-off book that he was able to publish with the help from the store that he used to frequent called Now and Then Books in Kitchener, Ontario.
I was going to
So
say, is that based on the Kitchener Festival? I've
it
been there.
is, it
It's
is, yeah, and it's kind of like um, just kind of like a light humor. It's pretty um not very serious or anything like that. And it's also
yeah.
got artwork by Gene Day as well too. So like Dave Sim and Gene Day were friends, and
Hmm.
and it's you know I used to be a really big like Cerebus fan until you know the issue 100s when he started kind of going like, just after Jacka's story, I think. Mothers and Daughters, I can't even remember now. Anyways, he's Dave Sim is a pretty controversial person
Yes,
who's written a lot of
I've been stood up by Dave Sim twice, where I went to two conventions with the with the intention of meeting him, and both times he canceled last minute. So
oh no,
yeah.
like I've met him, and this was even after all that stuff was getting
Mm.
stirred up, and I found him to be a really nice guy. We actually talked about how miserable the Toronto Maple Leafs were, and
Hmm.
he gave me a nice little service sketch, and this was at a time when artists were still like giving sketches for free and like signing stuff for free.
Yeah.
So I miss those days, but yeah. So Oktoberfest Comics, kind of an oddball Canadian one-off that that's that's kind of fun.
And it shows that it was it authorized, because I would have thought they would have used Uncle Hans instead of just that guy. If but then again, Uncle Hans is owned by Molson Breweries, I think. So
Yeah, that
the
like
character.
I don't know. It was the only issue that they published, and from what I understand, it sold very poorly.
I would
Yeah,
imagine.
I mean, it's 75 cents for like a 1976 book. It's black and white, so it was kind
Yeah,
of
and
expensive
at
for
a
what it
place
was.
where everybody was collecting for, at the time, probably 40-cent beer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So the next one is this, and it's the first issue of Journey, and it features a character called Wolverine McAllister.
Very
Um,
cool.
so this is also published by Aardvark Vanaheim, and it was kind of like a backup story in a fur. a couple issues in Cerebus, and it's completely done by William Messner Loeb, who did a lot of writing for DC. And this actually had like a pretty long run, like only about a dozen or so issues with Aardvark Vanheim. Then it moved to Fantagraphics, but really, really nice artwork. Um, and definitely one of the kind of like tougher indie number ones I think to kind of find that from a Canadian small print. So, um, and
Well,
you know,
Aardvark Vanheim seems to be a company where a lot of places, a lot of titles got their first start, like Flaming Carrot. They did 5 issues
yes,
there, then moved on.
yes,
You know,
and you know, Dave Sims' ex-wife Denny Lubert
yeah.
formed Renegade Press
Hmm.
because which I got another comic book that I'm gonna show shortly. But for yeah, like for a smaller publisher during that 1980s boom, they were they were fairly significant in terms of what they were published. I mean, Cerebus by a long shot was like their by far their best-selling title, but they did have some other kind of interesting stuff.
I have to say that Cerebus was well done, at least in the first half. I didn't
I
read as much
I
in the second half. I love the Pope storyline. That was just
yeah,
hilarious.
honestly like my favorite issues are from like 15 to about Church and State, just before kind of Church and State. I thought they were like the most fun. I mean, certainly he was still a bit rough around the edges, but and especially once Gerhard came in to do the backgrounds and stuff, like insane. Like some of the work that he did, I think really underappreciated for that run. Like like crazy. The level of detail in his inking is just insane.
It is. It's amazing. Question for you. We got 2 questions for you here.
Yes,
First one from Doc's Comics. Didn't A Distant Soil start there too, or is he thinking of something else?
maybe.
I don't remember that
I
title
don't.
myself.
I don't. The title sounds familiar, but I don't know if that was Aardvark Vanheim. Possibly.
And the next question from Core over in Denmark. Do you consider making deep dive videos into series like Blackhawk and the Sandman to review the entire collection in a series of videos?
Oof. So I think there are plenty of good videos on Sandman out there already. Um, Blackhawk, I like I actually collect Blackhawk, and I I kind of mentioned this a few times in some of my videos. Like, um, I was at a store and they recently got a large collection of Blackhawk comic books in, and I took pity on that collection, and they were priced so cheap, and some of
Mm-hmm.
these included like some of the issues from Quality, like pre DC. So,
Gotcha.
um, and they were they were like less than half of Overstreet. And so I went nuts and I bought like a buttload of Blackhawk, and it's like because like some of the quality stuff is really really good for that period of time. The '60s DC stuff, um,
I did not like the period where they were the superhero team.
oh, those are like so awful that they're good. But even the stuff before them when they changed costumes and everything like that,
Yeah.
um, I don't know.
I
And
sadly have 3 issues of Blackhawk from that superhero team only because they're go-go checkbooks.
so like the '80s run is actually fantastic. Mark Evanier and Dan Spiegel did most of the issues, and they're really actually really good for that period of time.
And
There's
that came out just after they did their Action Comics weekly appearances, right?
that was before. Actually, that was well
Oh, it
before.
was
So
before. Okay.
yeah. So I want to say like early '80s that got canceled. Howard Chaykin did his like 3 issue prestige format series, which I felt was kind of overwrought. And then they did, and then I believe it was the just Blackhawk featured in the weekly action
Yeah,
weekly.
there was just Blackhawk in the
Yeah,
stories. And I
and
think
then
he only did 8 issues. I think he was only there for 2 months.
yeah, and then they did another series, kind of like in a nicer paper format, uh, which lasted more than a dozen issues. Yeah. So one day when I get desperate for material.
And we've got another question from Robbie Josephs. What
Yes.
kind of a collector would you call yourself, and what's your favorite era?
So I'm like an omnivore. I like kind of everything. But my favorite era would be like the 1970s, 1980s. That's kind of like my most my focus. I do have like Silver Age books. I do have a sprinkling of Golden Age books. I kind of like everything. Like the stuff that I'm showing today is like stuff that I haven't really showed too much or talked about too much in on my regular channel. And like I'm just mostly talking about like Canadian comic books today. But I kind of like everything. I love the history of comic books. I have stuff from like the Platinum Age. I don't. The only thing that I don't really collect is like the new stuff. Like I don't buy many new issues at all. I'll buy trade paperbacks, but that's about it. Um, but I like 70s and 80s, 60s, but I kind of like everything. Most of
So
my
you
collection is
avoid
Marvel DC, but I like everything. Yeah.
so you avoid most of the 90s stuff. Like you will buy, for example, you were talking about
Right.
um the 80s explosion of, the independent titles.
Yeah.
And that was fun. Pacific Comics,
Oh,
Malibu
Amiibo,
Comics,
like
but
yeah.
Malibu was
Um,
more 90s, but you know what I mean. But
yeah.
Aircel.
Uh, I have some 90s stuff, but yeah, I generally don't buy much stuff from. But there was a period of time where I bought, when like the Ultimates came out, Ultimate Spider-Man.
Mhm.
I like that stuff. Like when Marvel had another kind of like almost they came back. They came back from like the dead. Like Marvel was in a lot of trouble, and they came back with the Ultimate line. This was when Quesada, I think was editor in chief, and he could do whatever he wanted because Marvel was such bad shape. And so
Mhm.
I thought like I have a fair number of comics from that period of time, but you know the new stuff. It's like there's so many. Like I'm so far behind in my reading. Like it's driving me crazy. And like you know I get a lot of great suggestions as well too in terms of like what to read, and it's like
I know
oh
I get at least 4 recommendations a week sent to me, and honestly, I do try.
mhm.
I did buy this week a recent book that Dope had recommended to me, so I'm looking forward to reading those. Raw Fast Comics wants to know if you have any Canadian whites.
I do not. I wish I had one or two nice examples, but they are like I'm just trying to think of the last time I saw any when I was the last time I've been out where I saw any, and I can't even
I
remember.
honestly, I have only ever seen Canadian whites myself at Allen's house and at the War Museum in Canada.
Yeah.
That's the only place. Sorry, in Ottawa. I mean, like those are the only places I've seen them. I haven't even seen them for sale at some of the local stores or anything like that. Have you had the opportunity to meet Ivan from Hamilton? Is it Dover? I want to say Dover
No.
Ochek, but he's the leading expert on
On
Canadian
Canadian
whites.
whites.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fascinating. Like I I'd just like to own one or two just to kind of have one and just because I think they're really quite interesting. But yeah, they're super rare and they're not cheap. And you know, I you know, I kind of forget there's some like bigger dealers that go to shows that I think may occasionally have them, but it's something that I forget to
Mhm.
ask about or they're never on the wall because it's a very small niche of
Exactly. They tend to be
collectors.
more at auction than they do,
Yeah, yeah.
just
I,
because of
I
the yeah.
I think those books work much better in auction than and like it's like how do you even price some of that stuff? Because like in
I
a lot
know
of those
there's stuff
cases,
that I mean, a couple of books have had prices, but I don't think they're even in. I'm not even sure if Triumph Comics and all and them are
mhm,
even in the Overstreet. Some
I
Canadian
yeah,
comics do make it, like Dave Sims made it, Aerosol Comics made it, the Elf Quests and all that stuff.
yeah,
But I don't even know if the Canadian Whites are in there.
yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah. I mean I do have like um I'm gonna show you something quickly,
Of course.
like this. This is a Classics Illustrated, and this is the Canadian edition. And
Cool.
this is the closest I will get to owning a Matt Baker cover. Well, I mean, this is the only Matt Baker cover that I own from
Hmm.
that period of time. And I think this is the only printing of this issue that
Yeah.
they had. And he does the inside artwork as well, too.
Lyle
So,
is confirming what I said about the Overstreet. So
yeah, those Canadian whites. So, yeah, I think they're a fascinating part of Canadian comic book history. And I think it'd just be kind of cool to own one or two.
well,
Um,
I mean, considering that Nelvana is a huge part of history in general,
yeah,
not
yeah,
just that she's the first Canadian superheroine, she's one of the first, period.
yeah,
So, and she outdated, like she's older than Wonder Woman.
yeah.
All right, what
Um,
else have we got?
so something that you will probably appreciate,
Normal Man,
Normal Man, the first issue, and
very cool.
also Aardvark Vanaheim. And for those who are not familiar with this comic book, he is the reverse Superman in all aspects. He's
Yep,
a normal person on a planet of super beings. Um, and I think it's Jim Valentino who did this,
I believe so. Yes.
which is insane.
Mhm.
Um, so it's kind of
It's
funny how you had talent like William Messner Loebs and like Jim Valentino, like earn their their
I just
skills.
love the concept so much. For those that don't know it, basically this guy arrives on a planet. It's the Superman story all over, where he is the only non-superpowered person on the planet. He is
Yes.
the unincredibly average normal man. It's a great spoof.
So this weekend in Toronto, they have what's called TCAF, which is the Toronto Comic Arts Festival, and it's kind of celebrates indie publishers, Canadian indie publishers. So, and I think I want to say it's free. It's at the Mattamy Life Center, like downtown. But if you like Google TCAF, TCAF, and if you're in Toronto, it's quite an interesting festival with a lot of like it's just all like indie publishers. And it's kind of run by this one store called The Beguiling in Toronto, and they've been doing it for a number of years.
I'm putting
And
the link to the website in the chat right now.
and this is the first issue of Yummy Fur by Chester Brown. And he is a well-known Canadian comic book creator for, I think, two particular titles. One is called Louis Riel, and the other one is
Mhm.
Paying for It. And Paying for It is basically his autobiography about being a John, about like hiring the ladies of the night. And
Mhm.
um, it's not for everybody, but I think like Louis Riel is a brilliant kind of biography that he put together that's mostly available in like a trade form, like either
Mhm.
like a soft cover, which I think every Canadian should read, like every Canadian kid. Uh,
Every Canadian kid needs to know who Louis Riel is, and they need to
yeah,
know his story.
yes. Now he does take liberty with some of the history there, it's but incredibly he documents um, like the amount of like footnotes that's included with Louis Braille is just it's just crazy. But this is his earliest work. This actually
Probably
reprints
not a word you want to use with Louis Riel. For those that know.
like this is his first work, which are like reprints of these like basically black and white photocopies that he used to make of his first comic books. And it's the series. It's it's weird. It's kind of funny, but at the same time, it just feels very honest. There's this one like character called Ed the Clown that kind of repeatedly appears throughout the series, and like this first story has like the attack of the killer toilet rolls. Yeah, it's weird stuff, but you know,
I had to mute there when you said Attack of the Killer Rolls. I just went
yeah,
made it sound that was so hilarious.
and like strangely enough, like Vortex Comics, like this was one of their best sellers, but um, it has a really interesting history because a lot of the stuff in this series as well is not certainly not appropriate for kids. Not as adult as some of those like underground comic books, but
Right.
very close to there, and it's kind of wonderfully weird. That's like maybe the best way to kind of describe it. But yeah, yummy fur.
We have another question for you from Core.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered collecting and reading European comics?
Uh, One day, like somebody suggested to me a series called Baron. I'm a
Mhm.
huge fan of Enemy Ace, like Kanigher and Kubert's Enemy
Yeah,
Ace. That's
good
loosely
choice.
based on von Richthofen, and um, they recommended a series called Baron by a French artist. Um, but I mean, like, I don't the places where I go like to buy my comic books. I think their selection of like European materials is typically not that great. Even though like BMV Books, one of the stores that I go to quite a bit, their kind of used or graphic novel selection is very diverse, but I don't always come across that stuff. So definitely. But again, my reading, like my backlog in reading material is just it's just
I
dumb.
know it's just insane, and I mean, I don't know
Crazy.
about you, but it's like every time I get down to about 5 or 6 books, I'm like off to another convention. Next thing you know, it's
Yeah.
piles big, big
Yeah.
again.
And I'm still embarrassed to say that I still have many comic books in my collection that I haven't read. So um but I think that's common with a lot of comic book collectors in that you just start to kind of accumulate stuff. Like, and
Yeah,
one of
I
my
mean,
problems
like,
as well too. Oh, go ahead.
um, do you find that because people know you're into comic books, like family members and friends that are not into comics, like for example, I'm going to show something here. My mother gave me this, okay, just because she's like, "Oh, you're into Star Wars." Okay.
So
Like, do you find that people give you stuff like that all
yeah,
the time? And then the next thing you know, you've got a whole bunch of stuff around and you're like,
yeah.
oh, what am I going to do with it all? Oh, sorry.
I need to I I don't want people to send me comic books because I have enough as it is.
Mhm.
Like and like honestly, like I need to I used to be better at like, at least thinning out my collection every once in a while, but I, I need to I need to work on that. Or at least figure out better storage solutions again. Maybe
Yeah,
hide comic books.
I'm in a flux right now. I'm trying to get some filing done. I've still got two and a half long boxes to file in the short boxes. So I get what you're
Yeah.
saying. It
There's a guy North Garden Comics, I think, who made this video about basically using these big filing cabinets, these horizontal filing cabinets that are 3 or 4
Yes,
levels tall. And
my
like they
former
apparently
boss built my former boss is a bibliophile, and he built those into his house when he bought his latest house. And
yeah,
honestly, I wish I could afford to do something like that because it was not
yeah.
cheap. But those
But
rolly cabinets would make a great storage solution.
I've looked around like on Facebook or what's the Kijiji, and they're out there, they're cheap, they're like 50, $60. I just need to get off my butt to but the only problem is they're really big, and like I don't I'm not even sure if I could like put one in my car to fit. So
Yeah, well,
that's been kind of like
those definitely are hard to put in the car. Even with
yeah,
we've got
and
a bigger one, but they're so heavy. That's part of the
yeah.
problem.
So I'd love to get something like that. I've been, one of these days, because right now I even got like boxes sitting on the floor and stuff like that, which is not good. Yeah.
Very cool. So how many videos do you average a week? I'm just curious. Are
I
you a
just do
one
one. I
one?
typically just do one. Some on the rare occasion, I'll do two. Um, but one is like I could barely do one per week. Like if sometimes I feel like but it's funny. It's like I feel like if because I thought about maybe doing once every 2 weeks, just because it can get kind of tiring. Um, but
Mhm.
I somehow managed to always get one out ready. Um, and like there's been a few times where I've been on vacation where I'll just kind of like bank a few videos,
Yeah.
but those are videos that I just kind of show my collection stuff. Like
Well,
those are
what I've been doing lately is I'll write 3 or 4 scripts,
yeah,
and then by then I'll usually have 1 or 2 of these top 10 videos, as I said too,
yeah,
and I'll literally take an afternoon or an evening after everybody's gone to bed, and then just whip them off.
yeah.
And
So
because I don't edit, right? So like the recording part is done, and I can load them as I need them.
yeah, and you know, I thought it'd be great to kind of like bank a few videos in advance, but no, I haven't been able to. The only time that I've been able to do that is just when I've made like a series of 3 videos just showing my Marvel like Bronze Age books, because
Now,
I thought it would take
yeah,
those took like longer than I thought. Well, the videos are longer than I thought they would be, so I was able to split those up. Yeah.
Core has a question for the two of us.
Mhm.
Do you collect comics like Uncle Scrooge collects money so he can swim in them, hugging them and just look at them? I contrast the investor aspect of collections. Well, I don't dive into my comics, but
No,
I don't get rid of anything either. And I love getting new comics from people. Comic books aren't the problem. I was thinking more in terms of the little trinkets that go because they're very odd shaped, so they're hard to store. So
I
there's more like it. But I love comic books.
oh yeah, me too. And I would say like the like COVID really brought me back to my comic books because there was a long period of time where they were just there. I mean, I've got my bookshelf with all my trade paperbacks, and I always kind of go back and I'll read those, right? But a lot of my books were just kind of buried, and then COVID gave me the chance to kind of like um, dig them out and go through them, and then just kind of rekindle
Mhm.
that passion. Well, because we all had a lot of time, um,
Right.
rekindle that passion, and then when I saw people making content about comic books, like you know, all kinds of content, I thought that was pretty awesome. I thought, oh, maybe I should do that. So um, yeah, I wasn't sure um, how long um, I'd be doing it, and my wife thinks I'm absolutely crazy for the amount of time that I spend on these videos and stuff.
Yeah,
She,
I'm starting to get the. Remember when you said you were only going to use one wall? Because I'm on wall number 2 now, and and the thing is, I find it difficult. I find it difficult to let go when it comes to my
yeah,
books. I I'm I've got a hoarder's instinct. I can admit it. My name is
yeah,
Matt. I'm a hoarder. Like I'm fine with that. But I've always been that way. It's just who I am. But the thing is, I do try to read everything. I love comic books. I love the knowledge behind it. I love knowing what they did. I love reading them. I like to know the stories.
mm,
I like everything about them. Yes, I would swim with them that core if I could, but I don't want to damage the books. So you know,
I would say if there's anything that's changed is I'm definitely more interested kind of like in the history of comic books as well as like the industry, the people who work behind the scenes. Um, that kind of stuff find I'm more interesting now than I had like zero interest of that before. But
mhm.
the people behind comic books, you know, uh, the the stories behind how some of these get created, and I, you know, like sometimes I wonder how some of this stuff actually, how comic books as a medium has survived, considering all the challenges
Hmm.
the industry has had over the years. So, you know,
I know
again,
it's amazing how, like, you could, like, somebody will be like, this idea evolved over years, and then you hear like, oh, I was just sitting down on the toilet when I thought of this, and I say that because
yeah,
apparently that's what happened with flaming carrots. So and
yeah,
and so, like, it's amazing that, like, you read the stories. Like, I I I don't know about where you get all your information, but I remember, like, when I was a kid, I always read the Meanwhile and the Stan soapbox and everything like
oh
that,
yeah, yeah,
and I
yeah,
got a memory for that sort of thing. But also with the internet, like, you used to be able to read old interviews with people like Jim. Like, when I did the Jim Aparo video, I based a lot of the information from an old interview he gave to Comics Journal way back
yeah,
in the early '80s. So, like, pre this was actually pre Batman and the Outsiders. He was still working on Brave and the Bold when he gave this information.
yeah,
So,
and
but it had a lot of information on that Spectre run, for example, that we were talking about.
and like fanzines like the Comics Journal and that kind of stuff. They have like they are a treasure trove of information. They have so much. Like again, it doesn't maybe doesn't interest everybody, but
I know.
um, I have an issue that has literally a 40-page interview,
Hmm.
Gary Groth and Gil Kane, and he basically goes through like his entire history of
Hmm.
working well, his early history, because apparently the interview continues in the next issue, but it's crazy some of the stories he
I
tells.
know. I mean, people who watch my channel know that I'm not exactly Gil Kane's biggest fan, but he is an integral part of history, and he knows how to tell a good story. Like, like,
Yeah,
he'd be the guy I want to be around at the bar saying, "Oh, let me tell you a
yeah,
story." That guy.
yeah,
I would love to
but
be that.
yeah. Well, he's not liked by everybody. Let's just say that. Well, just because he's got a very, how would you say, confrontational
Yes,
personality.
yes, he
So
does. I've read that on a few other things, but at the same time,
yeah,
apparently
so
Thomas, he runs Thomas's OnlyFans. Only Thomas. But
so he wasn't the most pleasant person with everybody, but certainly like a really interesting guy. Really interesting guy.
yeah, no, I will say that. Like, honestly, I wish I did. I don't own a lot of books that Gardner Fox did right now. It's too
Okay.
bad because he's somebody I'd love to do a video about, but I don't have enough because he was done by 1969. So, and a
I'm
good
sure.
chunk of his work is expensive, like to
Yeah.
buy, like early Justice League, early
Green
All Star
Lantern.
Spot, all Flash
Yeah.
comics, All Star comics, the old Green Lantern series. A lot of his early stuff was all because he worked for All American. He didn't work for DC.
Yeah.
And we've got one more here from Core. Idea for Raph: would you make videos with reviews on the books you read on comics, like a documentary on comic books? Okay,
Oh,
I think he's referring to the fact because I mean I also like you do deep dives pretty much for every video, but I've got 4 or 5 different types I do. And one of
mhm.
the ones I do is like, like I'll say, oh, here's a Legion story that's really cool. It went over 7 issues, and this is what happens, and I show the books and sort of talk about the books, or the one I call random books my daughter picks, where I have her pick random books and then I review them, out of my collection. I don't want to, she just did that for me, so I don't want her doing it again so soon because I want to space them out. you know, that's what I'm saying. It's like, usually when I'm in a funk about topics, I'll just say, Elise, can you come here for a minute? She'll come down and do it. But it's really fun.
And the thing with comic books, there's just there's so many comic books. Like
I know.
you know, you could you could do this forever. Like even if you just pick a specific era,
Yeah.
like the Silver Age or the Bronze Age or whatever, like the Copper Age, or there's just so much you can kind of like talk about or go into, because it's not only just the comic books, but the people behind the comic books.
I know I could easily do 25 videos on Supergirl alone, just from my
Yeah,
knowledge of and the books.
yeah.
But nobody would want to watch them. So that's
Somebody
the
out there, yeah. Like, but I mean, that's I I did one on Micronauts recently, and it's funny, like the number of people that have responded saying, "Oh, you got to do one on Rom," and I'm like, I wasn't sure that, like, a lot of people mentioned like Rom, and so I have a number of Rom comic books, um, but I was a little surprised that well, I understand like the link with Bill Mantlo, because he wrote Micronauts, and Rom had a longer run, um, but it's like, yeah, often there'll be something that links from one video
Mhm,
to another and whatever, but stuff like that can be challenging because I gotta like go back and read my rom comic books, and
mhm.
again, there's just there's
So the
so
last question, because we're gonna wrap up shortly, because Nate's show is gonna be on soon, and we'll I like to be done before him, because
yes, yes.
everybody goes there, so you know I like to give them the chance. So my question is, how much preparation? Like, I mean, obviously you have to do preparation. You got to know the stuff, but how do you read the books to get a feel for them, or do you just get the information when you do your research for your videos? Like, do you reread?
Well, if I'm doing a specific series, I definitely read the books,
Yeah,
because
I do the same thing. So I'm
if it's something that I'm already kind of familiar with, then I can just kind of quickly skim them, or particular
Yeah,
issues.
exactly. I skim them just to make sure I remember the points.
Yeah.
You know.
So like for that Spectre one, actually I don't have all the full adventure run. Um, and
Mm,
so I just talked about the issues that I have. But it's funny, but somebody later mentioned, what about this story where the Spectre, you know, basically
mhm.
changes a rubber duck to eat a guy?
Yes, that's a
And that
great
was like,
story.
yeah, and I'm like, oh man, I don't have that issue, so I have to kind of look it up and find. And it's like, it's hilarious. It's
See,
and
I do have the because my adventure run is from 298 to the end, so
yeah,
I have all the Spectre books.
yeah.
But Raph, I really want to say thank you very much for coming tonight. This was a
Oh,
lot of fun.
oh
Your
yeah, it's great.
channel, honestly, your channel inspires me to do better. And I'm not saying that, like, I'm serious. Like, I look at this, I tell Alan all the time, man, Raph, I know he does the editing too, but this is what I want to do. This is what I want my videos to look like, and
Thank you,
I really think you're doing an amazing job on YouTube, and I hope you're around for a long time.
thank you. I hope so too. This is a lot of fun, and like the community
Yeah.
is great. It's great.
Okay, just before we go, everybody, I did not. We had 27 members at the deadline, so I have written all the members' names down who were a member on the day of May 31st, and on June 11th, I have time to be determined. I will be doing a live pick of the members winner. I'm going to make it open in case like people so that people can see. Maybe they'll like the prize and they'll want to, when they see that somebody wins it, that they'll like to join in and for the next one. So thank you all very much for coming tonight. Raph, as I said, keep up the great, amazing work. Hopefully you'll get recognized this year at the Comic Awards. I mean, your size of channel makes it you're up literally against everybody last year, so that would have made it a little tougher to win. But honestly, you're certainly of quality that should be recognized at the very least out there. I mean, great job out there. You're a great ambassador for comics. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. If you're not doing anything, go check out Nate on Hollywood Comics at 8, as I will end up being there at some point. Thank you very much. My name's Matt. I like comics, and I hope you all do too. Thank you, and bye, everybody.
Toodles.